The airplane was about 3,000 feet over New York City and descending fast. 30 seconds after the engines failed, Captain Sullenberger began urgently looking for someplace to land and radioed air traffic control.
And I said, Mayday, Mayday, Mayday. Cactus 1549.
Hit birds, we've lost thrust on both engines, returning back towards LaGuardia.
Okay, you need to return to LaGuardia. Turn left heading up 220.
220.
Tower, stop your departures, got emergency returning.
But you didn't return to LaGuardia.
No, I quickly determined that due to our distance from LaGuardia and the distance and altitude required to make the turn back to LaGuardia, it would be problematic reaching the runway. And trying to make a runway I couldn't quite make could well be catastrophic to everyone on board and persons on the ground. And my next thought was to consider Teterboro.
What's over to our right? Anything in New Jersey, maybe Teterboro?
Okay, yeah, off your right side is Teterboro Airport. Do you want to try to go to Teterboro?
Yes.
But it soon became clear he couldn't make it to Teterboro either.
Turn right 280, you can land runway 1 at Teterboro.
We can't do it.
The only viable alternative, the only level, smooth place sufficiently large to land an airliner was the river.
Was it in your sight?
It was right to my left.
You contacted air traffic control again, didn't you?
Yes. I said we're going in the Hudson.
That decision to go in the Hudson was made 2.5 minutes into the flight and just 1 minute after the birds had hit. Sullenberger and his co-pilot, Jeff Skiles, started preparing to land on the water. What kinds of things did you have to think about or worry about in the process of that?
As soon as I assumed control of the aircraft, I turned the engine ignition on. So if there was any chance of a relight, we would have gotten it automatically. The next thing I did was I started the auxiliary power unit, another small jet engine that we used to provide electrical power for the airplane.
What happened when you all tried to do those things?
No luck. I mean, I got the AP running, I turned the ignition on, but still no usable thrust. We were descending rapidly toward the water.
So you were going fast toward the earth?
Yes, the water was coming up at us fast.
Do you think about the passengers at that moment?
Not specifically. I mean, more abstractly, perhaps. I mean, I knew I had to solve this problem. I knew I had to find a way out of this box I found myself in.
Did you at any point pray?
I would imagine somebody in back was taking care of that for me while I was flying the airplane.
About 155 people?
I think my focus at that point was so intensely on the landing.
You couldn't think of anything else?
I thought of nothing else.
There were just 3.5 minutes for Captain Sullenberger to accomplish what only a few commercial airline pilots had ever done, and he was determined to avoid the fate of this Ethiopian airliner, which landed in the Indian Ocean in 1996 and broke into pieces, killing most of the passengers on board.
That's what I was trying to avoid.
What were some of the things you had to do to make this landing successful?
I needed to touch down with the wings exactly level. I needed to touch down with the nose slightly up. I needed to touch down at a descent rate that was survivable. And I needed to touch down just above our minimum flying speed, but not below it. And I needed to make all these things happen simultaneously.
And yet you had to keep your cool.
Right. The physiological reaction I had to this was strong, and I had to force myself to use my training and force calm on the situation.
Was that a hard thing to do?
No, it just took some concentration.
Did it feel like 3.5 minutes?
Yes, it did.
Really?
Really.
It wasn't in slow motion, or?
I wish it had been. I might have thought about more things on the way down.
Tell me what you saw from the cockpit.
I saw the river ahead of me, long, wide, with boats at the south end. We were trained to land in the water near other boats to facilitate rescue. That was where the airplane was headed, and that was a good place to go.
90 seconds before hitting the water, Captain Sullenberger made an announcement to the passengers and crew. 3 simple words: brace for impact.
I made the brace for impact announcement in the cabin.